Hello and welcome to Beyond the Plate with Carol, where we will explore food and a little beyond. So come along with me on this journey and see what we uncover. We are here at the studio at the Beacon, 814 Elm Street, right in downtown Manchester. And I have to tell you, I've been looking forward to this one. Daryl and I stopped by his food truck not too long ago, like maybe 2 weeks ago. I had a spicy chicken sandwich and Daryl had a smash burger. And then I tried that deep fried fluffernutter thing. And I'm not a sweet eater, but we're going to get into that a little later. And honestly, I didn't know what hit me when I took a bite of that. That was just amazing. Jakob, welcome. I'm so glad you came in.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Carol. I appreciate it. We were excited to see you there a couple weeks ago, and it was funny to run into you at that food show.
My father was blown away by that. He's like, "Do you know them?" I go, "I don't." I go, "Dad, they recognize me." Come on.
Yeah, and it's funny. I recognized you from the podcast. I apologize. I didn't even know the red arrow and affiliation and all that.
I said that to you only because I'm like, he must be wondering what I'm doing at a food show.
I was like,
right.
What are you doing at a food show?
That's why the only reason why I said that. So kind of funny. That was kind of cool. All right. So before anything else, the name Northman Food and Beverage Company. Tell me where that comes from.
Yeah, so that's a new thing for us, actually. So Wicked Tasty, as I'm sure we'll kind of touch on, has grown into multiple different things. And, my idea was, I think this is bigger than just a food truck. And I've always been in the restaurant business. I've always thought about owning a restaurant, just wasn't sure what it was going to be. And now being in it as an owner and seeing all the different things you can do, I thought, we need kind of like a parent company. And that's where Northman F&B Co came from. So Northman F&B Food and Beverage Company. Northman comes from my last name, Norris. It means man of the north. And so that's kind of a way to tie to home. A lot of what I do with my concept, either Wicked Tasty or Northman, is really kind of tied personally to me or my experience growing up here in one way or another. So yeah, that's where Northman is. This is Northman's first year. And the idea is that we kind of start to grow into this bigger entity. And Wicked Tasty is kind of our flagship concepts that we've applied in multiple different ways, and see what else we can do, who we can partner with, who we can collaborate with, and where we're going to go.
I love it. I like that. That's interesting. I like that. You grew up between Plymouth, Mass, and southern New Hampshire.
Yes.
So you're pretty New England, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you are. What is it like growing up here, and when did food really grab you?
Yeah, food has been a staple my entire life. When I was a kid growing up in Plymouth, Mass, my dad would take me clam digging. And so, you wait and you see him spit out the sand, and then you go dig them up. And
that's hard.
Yeah, it is.
My brother has a place in Jonesport, right on the ocean. And when I go up with the girls, we try to go, we will put our muckers on.
Yeah.
We can never get them.
Yeah.
Stupid things, but go ahead.
No, it was a good way to spend a Saturday with the family.
Yeah.
And then we would take it back and kind of have like a block party, thing. Everyone would kind of, boil clams and all that kind of stuff. And then just watching my parents grow up, they loved cooking dinner together. My dad loved cooking. It was just kind of this always constant in my life. And when we would go camping, like one of my favorite pastimes, me and my wife still do camping in tents to this day. He would go collect acorns and mushrooms in the woods, and we'd catch a fish, and he would cook it on the fire. And so it was just
forage your own food. That is cool.
Yeah, it was just this really, it was really just a great way to connect with my dad and my parents. It was an awesome time to see them in the kitchen dancing together and cooking dinner. It was just a really great thing in my life growing up. And then we moved to Salem, New Hampshire, when I was 10. And that's when we started our journey in New Hampshire here. And it was, continued on as just kind of like a great thing to do. When I was in high school, I did a couple culinary classes, and they were the only classes I passed. They were the only classes I showed up for, my dad sadly passed away. And so I think that was kind of a really big anchor for me to him, was just kind of that pastime of cooking together. And
he's watching you though.
Yeah. I think he's pretty proud.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. How long ago was that?
I was 12. So it's been over 20 years.
So,
it was shortly after we moved to New Hampshire that he had passed away. And life kind of took a turn with that and whatnot. Adolescence was pretty tough for me after all that. But cooking was the constant thing my whole life. I went from high school and those couple culinary classes that I did I veered off the path. I dropped out of high school. I started working right away. And my first job was at Murphy's Tap Room down the street.
Okay.
And that was kind of where the bug hit me.
Now, do you mean Murphy's here?
Yeah. Murphy's here in
really?
in Manchester. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I was thrown on the line back then. And no matter what I did in my life, no matter where I went, whether it was, Massachusetts or Southern New Hampshire or places I've lived, cooking was always the same. It was always the thing that remained. So that's kind of how I to hear.
I think it's like that for a lot of us, right? I think at some point we say, all right, no, I don't want to do this anymore. And you leave, but then you always find yourself back.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck? What's going on here?
Yeah. I don't know what else I would do.
That's one of my questions later on.
Yeah.
All right, real quick, for anybody just tuning in, I'm sitting here with Jakob Norris. He's founder and CEO of Northman Food and Beverage Company and the mind behind Wicked Tasty right here in New Hampshire. You can find them at northmanhospitality.com and wickedtastytrucks.com. All right, let's talk about Wicked Tasty. So when you started as a food truck, was the plan always to grow it to something bigger, or how did that happen organically? Like, what happened?
It happened kind of very organically. So I was the executive chef over at 1750 Tap House in Bedford at the time. And a friend of mine had reached out to me. He was a real estate agent and he got this truck out of a deal selling somebody's house. And he was one of those guys who followed Fish on Tour and he was like selling margaritas in the lot and he was like loving it. And so he always had this dream to do a food truck and he just didn't quite know how to put that together and he wanted a partner in that and he called me up. And I had at that point, never really thought that I was capable to own a restaurant. I really thought that I had kind of found myself with management, with being an executive chef, and I felt comfortable there, but I just really was not sure about, being the whole thing. And when he asked me that, I just said yes. Just something in me told me say yes. And so we started building Wicked Tasty. It took us a year to get the truck put together. I worked on our website. I worked on our Instagram and all that stuff.
Now, all the while working.
Yeah, all the while working.
You're working and you're setting this up.
Yeah.
Okay.
All the while working. And we really had no idea where it was going to go. We had no idea what was going to happen. We thought we were going to be very, music festival based. We thought we were going to be doing the big shows, like Levitate. And
so how long ago was this?
We're starting our fourth year. So that was 2021. We were planning 2022. We finished.
Kind of COVID a little bit.
Yeah, kind of COVID. And actually, I think that's what sparked my partner at the time because he was in real estate, which at first took a pretty big tank.
Right.
So he was kind of thinking, what am I going to do? And then he spent COVID working on the truck, which if he stuck with real estate, he probably would have done better. But we really weren't sure what it was going to be. We were kind of just riding it. We were riding the wheels. And then from putting together Wicked Tasty and putting together this team and putting together the food and the quality and the service, opportunities kind of just started to fall in front of us. We had our first sale at Litherman's Brewery in December 2022. And then 2023.
Was that when MHP was there? Or had he left already?
Left.
He had, okay.
Left already.
Okay.
And then I think it was March in 2024, I left my job. And that was it.
And then you went full in.
All in. Yeah. All in.
Wow. So, I've been running Red Arrow since 1987, 39 years, 4 locations, 24 hours a day. One thing I can tell you after, 40 years is consistency, is really what keeps people coming back, right? Mm. Your regulars know what you're going to get. And the second that changes, you kind of lose them sometimes, Mm-hmm. With everything you're running, how do you hold on to that consistency, throughout?
I think it comes down to the people that you find to work with you. Mm-hmm. I think it comes down to, for me, the brand and what it is really important to me on a personal level and on a professional level. And I think sticking to that and what it is. Our tagline is New England Classics with a Twist. The idea is that it's all about New England, where I'm from, where we're from. And it's supposed to celebrate that. And not just in the food, but also in the mindset. Like we're bootstraps to the grounds. Like we keep things going. We do what it takes no matter what. We don't stop. And I think I'm very much like that. And I found people like that. And so I think that is something that has created that consistency for us. I'm a really big firm believer in our menu is our menu every time. I don't want you to see something online and then come to find us and it's not there. So we have the same menu every time, every day we go. It doesn't really often change.
And then you can have specials,
Yeah, that's what I like to think about is specials and whatnot often. But I believe in like, what are we going to be known for and how can people find that and how can that be consistent? And so we've been really good to work hard at that, and it's worked out for us.
Yeah. So the Dartmouth Skiway, seasonal thing, which I love. I mean, you take over the kitchen on the mountain during ski season. How did that partnership come together?
Yeah, so we had our first winter as a food truck, which was terrible. Having a food truck in the winter it's really, really tough. So, for anybody thinking about it, who's listening to this, have a plan.
Go talk to Jakob.
Have a plan in the winter, because our first one was really hard. And, we were kind of thinking to ourselves, I was still with my partner at the time, and we were thinking like, we're going to have to drive for Uber or something just to survive winter. And, I didn't want to do that. It wasn't something I was willing to do. We got this far. I don't want to feel like we can't keep it going. And
feel like you're going backwards. Not really, but
not backwards, but you know what I mean?
I get it.
I just wanted Wicked Tasty to last all year round. I wanted it to be a thing all year round. I thought because we shovel snow in shorts that people would come out to a food truck in December, and that's not true. It's not true at all. So Skiway happened because we had somebody try us at a festival that we were at, and they worked out in that area at one of the mountains, and Skiway was looking for a food vendor to take over their kitchen. They didn't want to. It's owned by Dartmouth It's owned by Dartmouth College. And they had a hard time getting their own kitchen services in there because of unions, it's seasonal, etc. So it just kind of ended up being this perfect storm of an opportunity.
That's ideal.
Yeah, we went and we tried out. There was 4 other companies that they were looking at. And so we all tested weekends differently. Yeah. And honestly, we kind of blew it away.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So out of that came a 5-year contract. And then we've just completed our second season. So we do the food and beverage for the ski season. And then outside of that, we're the preferred caterer there for the venue. Yeah.
And that's year round.
Year round. Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it's really great. It was definitely, these are the opportunities that just by doing the right thing and staying consistent kind of just fell in front of us.
Exactly. So you were nominated for the 2025 NHLRA, New Hampshire Lodging Restaurant Association, Roaming Kitchen of the Year alongside Dante.
Yes.
From Dead Proof, who he was just on the show a second time. What did that recognition mean to you?
Oh, man. To me, it was amazing. It was validating. It was exhilarating. You hear Dante talk about it. You hear a lot of us in the industry talk about it. A lot of what we go through is behind the scenes. It's not what you see. Being in restaurants, and certainly from the kitchen side of things, you're not supposed to see what I go through every day. I'm just supposed to perform. And I've gotten very used to that idea throughout my career. And so just to be recognized for, the capabilities that we have, the ability that I have, and that just nonstop grit, I'm relentless with this, to be honest. And it was just that recognition that, you don't get every day. You don't get every week. You don't get every month. It's amazing to hear everybody.
Huge.
Yeah, it's amazing to hear everybody love the food and come find us and come see us. But when, a jury of your peers recognizes that, it is a different level, and I love that we went over the crowd, but to feel seen, I think, is a little bit special.
Yeah.
So it was amazing.
I love that event. I just had yesterday on the show, I just had Mike Summers on, the president, NHLRA.
Yeah.
I told him that's like my favorite event of the year. I go every year to watch all of, you guys and your recognition. And I just love it.
Yeah. And good for Dante for taking that one. He's a great guy. He deserves it.
I didn't realize, and I didn't, when I saw you at the food show, I shouldn't have assumed Massachusetts because we were in Danvers, I think.
Yeah.
And then your food truck was in Chelmsford.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that your roots really are around here.
We are 80% New Hampshire. We always have been. I live in Nashua. The truck was kind of stationed in Nashua with me. So naturally, we're going to cross the border. It would always happen.
Yeah, of course.
And that's kind of how we ended up in Chelmsford, was from an event. But we are definitely New Hampshire born and bred. That's for sure.
So Dante posted a photo of the two of you. I mean, he called you a hustler to the core and said you outbearded him. I love that. What was the whole moment like between the two of you?
Yeah, real recognize real is what I'd say. I think,
like that.
Yeah, I think we saw each other from a parking lot at some event years ago, and just kind of the click. You work hard, you get this, you do this, you don't stop, and then that was kind of.
You both have similar. I mean, I'm listening to you, and I'm also hearing Dante.
Yeah,
you both are. Both are similar.
Yeah, and we definitely connected on that a lot. So it's great. It's great to meet people out there. He's definitely a special one for sure.
He is. Okay, so Northman, you said that name comes from your family name, Norris, man of the North, but it's more than that, isn't it? What does the name actually mean to you?
Northman, to me, it's just a larger representation of what we are up here, of who I am. And, when I think of a man of the North, I think of somebody who makes it through long, hard winters, somebody who doesn't stop, somebody who just grinds, and somebody who just grin and bears everything. And that's a lot of what this industry is. That's a lot of what my life has been. It's just somebody who keeps pushing no matter what, You've been open about the fact that recovery has been a huge part of your story. Almost 10 years clean and sober. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That is major.
Thank you.
I know that. And you've said the biggest reason you want to put yourself out there is to share the story of second chances. That's so important. I think that's incredibly brave. What do you want people to hear, when you do talk about that?
I want people to hear that everybody's worth something. Who you see in front of you today doesn't mean that's who they're going to be always. And it doesn't mean that's always who they were. I had somebody that I worked for, and we had an employee, line cook, who was struggling with abuse, drug abuse. And, this guy would just make the most off-color comments about it, how this guy was worthless because he's never going to amount to anything because, he just can't take care of himself. And, I wish people would understand that being an addict is something that has way more to do with mental health. Mm-hmm. And, there really isn't much of a choice when you're at that kind of level.
That's right.
And somebody that you wrote off could change the world tomorrow. And so I believe in second chances like the ones I was given, and I like to give those as well and work with other people. My recovery it's the very core of everything that I do. And I carry it with me every day.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Talking about second chances, when I first bought the Red Arrow, we weren't open 24/7 then. I mean, I was 23. It was probably like a couple years in, and right up the street on Lowell Street, there was a halfway house. Mm-hmm. And, they had come and introduced themselves and said, they come here, they stay for a certain amount of time, they need to work. Are you open to that? And I'm like, yes, absolutely. I believe in second chances so much. And I had gotten 2 amazing employees from there. And so many people were like, are you crazy? They're just going to do this. They're going to this. And I did have a couple that did that. But, you still have to keep your eyes open. You got to.
Yeah, especially in our industry, right?
Yep, I know.
Addiction runs hand in hand,
it
right?
does.
I mean, I was a line cook at Murphy's Tap Room, and that was where I learned how to use drugs, from my bosses.
Ugh.
That went hand in hand. I had a boss who literally told me, he was my sous chef at the time over there at Murphy's, and we had partied all night Saturday. And then Sunday morning, we're both supposed to be in at 10 a.m. And he said, all right, now I'm going to tell you how to go to work under these conditions. And we're going to go take a shower. We're going to go get a breakfast burrito. We're going to take this at this time. We're going to take that at that time. And, that was my introduction to this industry, which felt like home as somebody with addiction. And that was also, continuing something I was already struggling with at that point, even at 18. I was in a halfway house when I was 18. I turned 19 in a halfway house. So it'll be 10 years this year if I keep doing the right thing, completely abstinent free. And that's what's worked best for me. And my life has changed immensely tenfold. And I believe in it so much. I was just kind of following this revolving door beforehand. And I was working in restaurants. I was traveling the country. I worked in, Vegas. I worked down south. And really, it looked really great online on Facebook to everybody. But the truth was I would go and I would just kind of crash and burn. Yep. And I would crash and burn. I would crash and burn.
You wake up and you start it all over again.
Yeah. And I always had this dream of being a true chef and owning a restaurant and feeling like I was worth something. And I just saw that fade away as I just continued my use. And I continued to get fired or taken off the schedule. And when I first got clean was when I was really able to excel in this as a career.
So how did that moment feel when you said that day, almost 10 years ago, I am done?
It felt painful. It felt scary, to be honest. It should be liberating. It should be amazing, but it was really scary. I didn't know what my life was going to be like without it. In fact, I thought I was going to have to leave this career because of it. I didn't know how I could be clean and sober and still be a chef working in kitchens because it just related too much. It was too triggering for me or whatever. I didn't know how to get through a 15-hour shift without a substance, right? But I knew that if I didn't, I was going to die. And so it was just really heavy, to be honest. I was introduced to a 12-step program when I was in that halfway house, and that was exactly where I went that day. And I never looked back since. I'm still a very active member of that 12-step program.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
That's really good. That's really, really good. This episode is powered by Red Arrow Diner. All 4 locations, officially open around the clock. Swing by Manchester, Nashua, Concord, or Londonderry whenever hunger hits. From pancakes at 2 a.m. to fries and gravy for breakfast, we've got your cravings covered. Red Arrow, New Hampshire's favorite 24-hour diner tradition. Okay, so you talk about building a company where people can grow professionally and personally. What does that actually look like inside Northman? What are you doing differently than a typical hospitality operation, do you think?
I think it's understanding that gets missed a lot. A lot of what I didn't have throughout my career, and a lot of, as an owner, I understand why, to be honest. To be able to be patient with somebody, to understand their mistakes, to allow them to take those mistakes is costly. Right? Not even just on a financial level, but sometimes it can cost you an event. Sometimes it can cost you, a service piece or food. I think it's the patience and the understanding that is the biggest difference that we do. And I'm very, very transparent. I'm very transparent with everybody that works with me, for me, everybody that I'm trying to hone in on. I tell them how the business goes, how the business grows. I share a lot with them what the numbers are just so they kind of understand.
Yeah.
And we just
That's important.
I think it really is. I think the more that they can understand and see, the better it is. And the more patient understanding I can have, I think the easier it is for them to grow, within boundaries, of course.
Right, of course. I love how you've learned that. I mean, you were on the other end and now you're on the owner end, and it's very different.
Yeah.
As an owner, you wear many hats.
Yeah.
Not only a psychologist, you're the boss. You're also a banker sometimes. You're,
I help
you're a
somebody.
Friend. You're, it's tough.
Yeah, I helped one of my guys set up a Roth IRA.
Yeah. I mean, but it also is very fulfilling.
Yeah.
Knowing that you're making a difference and, you're listening and,
Yeah, I think it's great. I look at it as, investment, right? I do think, and I certainly looked at it before as a manager, that work is transactional, right? You come do a job for a couple hours, I give you money for that. That's a transaction. But when you really come out of the scope, this is our livelihoods. We spend more time here than we do anywhere else in our lives. Oh. I see my crew more than I see my wife. And it's always been like that. My entire career, almost 20 years, I've seen that kitchen more than I saw my home. And so what can we really do here with that that's going to be more than just coming in and making some burgers or cooking some short rib and then going back? And so I really try to make my environment a learning experience. I try to have that understanding, and I try to really grow with people. I have a guy who's been with us since day one, practically. He started with us.
That says a lot right there.
Yeah, he's started with us at 19. Now he's 21. He's my full operations manager. He does all of my ordering, my prep list. He runs the truck. He drives the truck. He, operates the food truck.
And that's young.
Yeah.
19, 20. That's...
Yeah.
But you're investing in him, like you said.
Right.
Right.
Because with them, they're investing their time in me as well. And I didn't know what Wicked Tasty was going to turn into. I didn't know where this food truck was going to go, but all I knew was that it had to work, right? It had to work for me because I need to pay my bills. And it has to work for these people that I'm bringing along because they have to pay their bills.
Right.
That is a very real thing. So, what can we do with this where it becomes more than just clocking in and clocking out? And so we've grown a lot of people up.
I love that. Let's talk a little bit about the truck. Like Daryl and I a couple weeks ago, walk somebody up to the truck and what they might see And, let's talk about some food on the Tasty Truck, Wicked Tasty Truck.
So when you see our truck, you're going to see us from a mile away. You're going to see.
It's a great looking truck. It's beautiful.
Thank you. You're going to see, we worked with local designers out of Lowell, actually,
nice.
For our logo and whatnot. But our logo is this big skull that has this presence that really kind of like, it draws you in. It doesn't scare you, I promise. But you walk up and you'll see we have our menu posted on a TV. And so it's all digital. And so you can see everything pretty clearly. And then we have our big window open, and then you'll typically see a pretty smiling face there asking you what we can get you. If you have any questions, our menu is built for everybody. It's built, like I was saying, on some New England classics with a twist. So a lot of that is just flavor or things that we're doing with products, like our braised short rib poutine. We braise that short rib for 8 hours. Yeah, we braise that short rib for 8 hours. We take the jus from there and we make the gravy. Our maple bacon onion jam, that's a 3 or 4 hour cook process, caramelizing those onions and that bacon. Our garlic aioli has 4 different types of garlic in there. So we spend a lot of care and effort into the ingredients that we use and what we do with them. So you'll come up and you'll order, and you'll get a buzzer so you can kind of go hang out with your friends.
That was cool. That was very cool.
Yeah,
I like that.
The whole idea is we didn't really want to shout anybody's name out or anything. And so you go hang out with your friends for a minute, and then when it buzzes, you get served your food. And then the idea is that it's wicked tasty.
So what are the hours? Like, when can they, I know you do your during the day. So is there, where can people, somebody's listening and they're like, I need to get to Wicked Tasty Truck. How do they do that?
So the biggest thing to do is follow us on Facebook.
Okay.
Or you can go to our website, wickedtastytrucks.com. We're a bit of catch us if you can. We're very event based. So you'll see us at your local things like Concord Market Days. You'll probably see us at your old home days in town. And then we'll do, some of our own pop-ups, like in the back of our own commissary or at a brewery.
Right. That's where I saw you the other day.
Yeah, that's at our own commissary. We're trying to do those some more so we can create an idea of where people can come find us. But we're very, very much, you have to follow our Facebook to see our weekly calendar.
Okay, all right.
There's typically 3 to 5 public events that we're at every week, but it changes. We're not the truck that just parks and barks. We don't stay in the same spot every single day. We are often out there doing something privately a lot of times, obviously, honestly. And whenever we can get out there, we're usually at some sort of large event. And then our own pop-ups is what we're really trying to get people to come find us at. If you ask us where we're going to be at, the idea is that, Chelmsford will have a couple pop-ups a month.
Okay. All right. So basically follow you on Facebook or wickedtastytrucks.com.
Yeah, we have our whole calendar on the website for the next couple months. You'll see.
Perfect.
So you can plan wherever. We're going to be near you at some point is the whole thing.
Perfect. I love that. So let's talk a little bit about the menu. Because we went, and I like hot chicken. That's my thing. I just came back from Nashville.
Yeah.
Hot chicken capital of the world, right? Yeah. I kind of think. But and Daryl loves his burgers. So so let's talk about what else can they find on the menu.
Yeah, so on the menu, the 603 Smash Burger is definitely what we're known for.
It's delicious.
It has that maple bacon jam, the garlic aioli, cheddar cheese, lettuce, tomato, and then our spicy chicken. That's a honey sriracha sauce that we make. That's
so good.
We have a barbecue chicken with the jam and barbecue sauce on there. Our short rib poutine is really, I think, next level because of that braised short rib. And then one of the really crazy items that we have is our grilled cheeses. So we have 2 specialty
grilled cheeses.
Oh yeah. So we have 2 specialty grilled cheeses. And what we do is we take Texas toast and we spread garlic aioli on one side. We press that into shredded cheddar.
You didn't bring me one?
I know, we got to get to the whole menu.
I'm teasing.
So we press that into shredded cheddar, and that's what we put on the grill. So you get this crispy cheese crust on the outside, and then American cheddar, short rib, and bacon jam on the inside. So we have that version, and then the other one will do pepperoni.
Oh my goodness.
And then we do a lobster roll in the summer. We do a fish sandwich and our deep fried fluffernutters.
Talk about that. Because that thing, and again, I'm not Daryl got it and he's like, you going to have a bite? I'm like, I'm like, well, I guess I got to try a bite. I was totally blown away.
Yeah,
I did not expect it to. I don't know what I expected, but I was really pleasant. I loved it. I ate more than half of it. It was really, really good.
Awesome. Yeah, we love that thing. So it's a peanut butter and fluff sandwich made with white bread.
So there was peanut butter in that.
Yeah, so it's peanut butter and fluff.
I think my husband told me there wasn't. I'm like, I don't know. I think there's peanut butter.
There's definitely
or we talked about it after. maybe just didn't remember at the time. But we talked about it after. I'm like, no, there was peanut butter in there. And he's like, no, there's not.
Yeah, there's definitely peanut butter. So if you have a peanut allergy, don't order this thinking there's not. But it's a peanut butter and fluff sandwich that we then roll in egg wash and then frosted cornflakes, and we deep fry that.
And then you put a little powdered sugar on top.
Yeah, powdered sugar on top. Yeah, it's pretty next level.
Yeah, it's definitely next level. All right. What does success look like for Northmen? I mean, not the revenue number, but the real vision. What do you kind of see out there?
To be honest, I feel pretty good with where we're at.
Good.
I like that. I want to say that. I feel like we have accomplished way more than I ever thought. We've gone farther than I envisioned. I never thought that I would own a food truck. I never thought that food truck would turn into multi-divisions throughout, with Skiway and the cafe. Our catering line is also very big. We now have mobile bar catering as well with Wicked Thirsty. So I never thought we would be where we're at. And now it feels like with this new edition of Northman that the sky's kind of the limit. I'm not sure where it's going to go. I know that we're just going to keep moving forward. I do have some ideas. I think Wicked Tasty is a great concept we've worked on in different arenas that we can introduce to some more arenas. Maybe you'll see us at, a true arena one day or something. And then there's other ideas that I want to grow. Our catering is a huge thing that really kind of scratches my itch for cooking. It's a little bit more higher end and a little different level of cooking that we do there with different menus and whatnot. And so we're looking to grow that over the next year or two and hopefully get to our own.
So you've got some ideas.
Yeah, we have some ideas. I mean, there's definitely a lot of ideas.
It's smart, though, to take it slow, kind of, and enjoy what you have. I mean, you have a young family, so, you want to.
We're looking to grow that as well. So now, the whole idea is we're kind of like in stabilization mode.
That's good.
Calm down, sit down, work on what we do really, really well, and then kind of grow again is the whole thought.
I think that's smart. Yeah. I really do. I think that's very smart. What does New Hampshire mean to you? You could have built it anywhere. Why here? New Hampshire, in the border, part of Massachusetts.
Yeah, well, New Hampshire, I definitely like to talk about New Hampshire a lot because I think Massachusetts gets all the looks, And New Hampshire to me has always been this kind of sense of home. Me and my wife spend our time up north in the mountains, and when we get to be together, we go to the White Mountains or the Sunapee area, and it's just a little bit more relaxed. It's a little bit more, I want to say, honestly, a little bit more to yourself, which I like.
Yeah, a little more serene.
Yeah, a little bit more serene.
When you think of Massachusetts, like you said, it's like, it's, ooh.
Yeah, and New Hampshire to me feels a little bit more serene. It feels a little bit more private. It feels a little bit more like
more laid back.
Is mine, laid back. And I get to enjoy what I have here with my family and whatnot. And without, all the hustle and bustle of Massachusetts, I guess I'd say.
True. You mentioned Wicked Thirsty. So I just want to, because we didn't really talk about that. So let's just, people probably heard that and they're like, wait a minute, go back to that. What does that mean?
Yeah.
So just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different things that we do. Over the last couple of years through Skiway, we were actually able to obtain a caterer's liquor license. So we can provide not only bartending services, but we can provide the liquor, which is not very common in New Hampshire.
Right.
So we use that as a launching point for what's called Wicked Thirsty, which is the idea of a bar company that goes hand in hand with Wicked Tasty and Wicked Tasty Catering. So we've often now become pretty well known in the wedding market. We do 10 to 15 a year. And we offer full service catering. So we'll do appetizers like charcuterie boards and small past hors d'oeuvres. And then we can do dinner off of the truck, or we can do something a little bit more high scale with, plated dinners or buffet dinners. And then we can also cover your bar, and then we'll also manage your rentals, and we'll, maybe the food truck for late night as well.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's pretty big. Yeah. Yeah. So we've turned into a full service catering company. And that's why we do often stay very booked on the weekends and why you might not see us throughout the summer.
Right.
A whole ton.
Okay. So you run obviously multiple concepts at once, food truck, cafe, catering bar, Wicked Thirsty. I know what it's like to have 4 locations pulling in different directions all at the same time. I mean, you feel like you're, sometimes going crazy. Staffing alone is in and of itself, so how do you I know you have your key people, but, how do you find those? You must have friends of friends probably helping when it's catering time.
Friends and family is definitely how it started. In my, me and my partner split about a year and a half ago. And so, then it was kind of fully me on my own and trying to figure out how do we cover all these things, right? Because in the peak of the season, this truck will be out 6 days a week for 12 hours a day. And that's a lot.
Yeah.
And so, what started out as some friends and family helping us turned into some real jobs and real careers for some of those friends. And then hiring. I mean, we've lucked out with hiring. We train. We really focus on training. And again, that understanding piece, that's not just for my managers and people that I can grow up. That's also for my line cooks, my dishwashers, my prep cooks, everybody. It's just understanding. And so I think that's helped us retain a lot. And I have an on-call team of 4 to 6 people. I have a full staff of 8 to 10 people, and I have about 3 to 5 part-timers. And so we'll do events at Dartmouth Skiway in the summer while the truck is doing a wedding, while maybe a tent pop-up is doing something else, and then the truck does another thing that day.
So is the Chelmsford area where you do your prepping?
Yes.
And so that's kind of your main kitchen.
Yeah, so that was the
where
whole
deliveries and that's where you... Yeah. Okay. So
before
Chelmsford... It must be a good-sized kitchen.
Yeah, it's a pretty good-sized kitchen. Yeah, it was a corporate kitchen before.
Okay.
So it was designed for this building of 500 employees, and it was just run as a corporate kitchen. And it was a really great thing. We had done a private event for one of the companies in the building with our food truck. We had done it 3 years in a row. And I had gone into the building and used the bathroom, and I saw on the window of the cafe closed due to COVID. And this is 2025. So I'm like,
what the heck?
What's going on? And so I asked our contact, and I said, hey, is that not running? And she said, no. And I said, if you know who to talk to, I'll rent that out. And then a week later, we were talking about a contract. And so the deal was that we operate the kitchen for the facility for the employees, and so they can come in and buy lunch from us
during the day, Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday during the day. We unfortunately can't open to the public, but then otherwise we have free reign, 24/7 hour access.
That's pretty perfect.
All the pots and pans came with it. It was, and then it has a 6-seat patio out back, 6 picnic tables, and so
that's where we were, right?
Yes,
which is great.
We get to do our own pop-ups there. So. It gives the truck a little bit of a home base. Before that, I had 2 storage units throughout Nashua. I had a church in Lowell that we used. The truck was parked in my house. And I'm not going to say that there was refrigeration in my garage, but maybe there was. And so this kind of put everything under one roof.
Yeah. That's like a huge, huge relief. Yeah, for sure.
The biggest relief, I think, is for me and my employees, too. It just makes their day so much easier. Going to one place. I mean, even an ice machine is like the greatest thing in the world to me and my guys, because we used to stop for ice every single day. Hey, can you pick up 40 pounds of ice real quick? Hey, can you pick up 40 pounds of ice on your way? Now we just fill up a bucket out of our own ice machine. And those things, I think, are when you operate at this kind of level and you get that busy and you have that staff, these small things I think are really important for that employee aspect and that retention, because we have to make their jobs easier. We can't just endlessly ask them to do the hardest things every single day. And that was one of the greatest things that came out of it.
Love that. So I think one of the things that doesn't get talked about enough in hospitality is what it actually takes to keep going when it's hard. Not the Instagram and, TikTok version, the real version. What has kept you going on the days when it felt like, maybe like that it was too much? What keeps you going? You kind of have answered it, but I want to hear.
Yeah, I think that's where my recovery comes back in, to be honest. I lived a life that was pretty irresponsible for a long time. There was no cares in the world. I didn't pay rent on time. I didn't care. I didn't pay my phone bill. If something went wrong, I just got up and left. I didn't really stick to anything. I didn't follow through anything. And when I was able to get clean and get a clear head, I saw myself start to stick things out, and drawing on that experience again and again and again, and just knowing that, there's hope for another day. There's hope for a better tomorrow. And even in this business, it can feel endless. It's taken what I've dealt with as a chef in a restaurant. Maybe there's a plumbing issue this week. Maybe next week there's people that called out that was on a weekly basis. This is on a daily basis. This is every day. I would go to that truck and it wouldn't start every day until we figured out these battery issues that have taken us years to figure out. And that's just like one accumulation, So I've drawn from my personal experiences that you just can't quit.
Yeah.
Because that's the key I figured out. If you don't quit, that's how things change. Because you wait it out. You push through it.
If you don't quit, that's how things change. I like that. I like that.
Yeah. And from where we are today, from where we started day one, it's tenfold different. And it's because we've layered things in every year. We fix problems as they've come along, and then we've also figured out permanent fixes, right? I don't want to deal with this battery not starting every single day. Today it was just jump it, but what is the long-term solution?
Right.
And that's always been really important to me. I'm a very detail-oriented person. I'm very strategic as well, and I obsess over every little piece of it. And that's honestly, it helps give me some hope for it, and that's what keeps me going. It'll get better tomorrow.
That's right. One day at a time, right?
That's it.
One day at a time. It's all we can do. So is there anything, before we move on to the lightning round, we haven't mentioned that you want people to know about any part of your business that maybe we missed?
Just don't be afraid to come find us. Come follow us on Facebook. Come check out the website. Our website has all of our information, where we're going to be at, the other things that we do. We're also doing a huge giveaway this year that I'll plug right now. It's called the Passport Giveaway. If you are a part of our rewards program and come see us, every time you see us, you'll get an entry. And then on Black Friday, we're announcing a winner. We're doing 3 packages. One of them is a 6-person holiday take-home dinner.
Cool.
So we're doing that. And then second prize is like a charcuterie board for 50 people, board included, and then a gift basket for Wicked Tasty. So we're doing a lot of fun things on there. Our website, you can find it all on our Facebook. We post about it all the time.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. So we're going to do a little lightning round. 603 burger or spicy chicken? Which one are you actually ordering off your own food truck?
The 603.
Okay. Worst job before food, and be honest.
I tried to do flowers for a minute as a side job, and that was a lot of thorns.
That's funny. Booth or counter?
I would say booth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Last thing you cooked at home that you'd never put on a menu?
Oh, man. Chicken nuggets.
Maple syrup on savory food, yes or no?
Yes.
Ah, okay. Favorite road trip snack? What's actually in your car when you take a road trip?
Mike and Ike.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a candy guy. So bad.
It's so funny you're saying that. I was just having a conversation with someone at the airport. I went to Nashville, and I was eating Skittles. And for some reason, when I travel, I go directly to the store thing, whatever, which is all now self-checkout, which I just think is crazy. But anyway, and that's when I eat my Skittles. So otherwise, I'm not really a candy person too much. But all right, most underrated New Hampshire ingredient that no one talks about?
It's a tough one. All anybody ever thinks about is maple syrup. I don't know, a New Hampshire ingredient. I can't even think of one.
I'm trying to think too as you're thinking, I'm thinking. I'm like, other than maple syrup.
Yeah, New Hampshire ingredient, I guess, I don't know. Fish up north is pretty good. Trout, bass. I'm not quite sure what else New Hampshire could do.
First thing your daughter Nadia, she was so cute.
Yeah,
so cute.
Thank you.
What's the first thing that you've taught her to cook yet, or will you teach her to cook?
She stands next to the counter and watches.
Love it.
Yeah, when I'm in the kitchen.
Which brings back memories of you with your parents.
Yeah, exactly. When I'm in the kitchen, it's kind of like a get out of my way. But I have learned to really open up and understand and be patient. And she has her little stool that she gets up and stands on, and she's got a little guard so she can't reach too far. And yeah, I'm actually much more nervous in the kitchen with her than I thought it would be.
Yeah. I think that's normal. You're at the Red Arrow Diner. What are you ordering?
Grilled cheese.
Really?
Yeah. Grilled cheese guy.
That's funny. I like grilled cheese too. All right, Jacob, when you look at everything you've built over the past years and everything you're still building, right? What are you most proud of? And what do you want people in New Hampshire to know what you're doing that they might not see on the surface?
I'm just really proud to have kept going. I'm really proud to have stuck through it, whether it's recovery or whether it's this business or whether it's my friendships, my marriage, whatever it is, it all takes work. All of it takes work. And I think that's what I want everybody to understand is that none of this comes easy. None of it comes natural. I had no idea how to run a business. I had no idea how to be a decent human being, but I learned all those things. I dug my heels in. That's what I want people to know and remember about me.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
This was really, really fun. I love hearing the stories and I love it. So thank you. Everybody go check out Wicked Tasty Truck. The food is incredible. The mission behind it is even better. WickedTastyTrucks.com, NorthmanHospitality.com. Go find them. And for Beyond the Plate, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, all those things. And we'll catch you every Tuesday with a new episode. Thank you. Bye, everybody. Thank you.